Alright. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Adam bin Haizat. My matric card number is 2322671 and I'm taking an UNGS 2290 from section 16. So today I would like to present about my presentation from group 12, which is a mental health challenge of a materialistic civilizations and their remedy. Now let's take a look into the introduction parts. So before I begin, I have a questions. In our words, how do we measure success? So if you think about social media, advertisements, and even a casual conversation, the answer often revolves around wealth, status, and the things that we own. So this is the reality of a materialistic civilization, which is a society where a material success can overshadow moral, emotional, and spiritual well-being. This isn't a new trend. It grew with a modern capitalism that has been super changed in our digital age. Social media platforms like Instagrams, TikTok, also can sell a lifestyle, fueling a constant comparisons, and also can lead to the FOMO, which is fear of missing out. That's why in our study, we aim to identify the relationship between materialistic values and mental health, especially anxiety, depression, and also self-esteem. So secondly, we also seek to discover the role of social comparisons in a digital age. Lastly, to highlight a possible remedy from both Western and also Islamic perspective. By addressing this issue, the study hopes to raise awareness and contribute to more balanced approach to well-being that benefit both individuals and the wider community. Now, we begin to the next part, which is the literature review in this presentations. So we have divided into the three subsections in here. So first, we're going to talk about the rise of materialistic civilization. Second, the mental health from a two perspective. And last but not least, we're going to talk about the mental health challenge and their remedies. So let's take a look on the first key, which is the rise of materialistic civilization. So in here, materialism is a social value where a wealth and the possessions are seen as the primary goals for happiness and also status. Today, the digital age has dramatically amplified this. Social media platforms are not just for connections, but also tools that are powerful engines for displaying possessions, online shopping, and constant lifestyle comparison, which can fulfill the materialism lifestyle. Now, the second part on the mental health from two perspectives, which is the Western perspective and also Islamic perspective. So, according to Western perspective, define mental health as a state of well-being that allow individual to cope with a stress and release disability. It is primary remedies are clinical such as cognitive behavioral therapy, or we can call as CBT, and pharmacologies, which can focus on treating symbols through the structural and also evidence-based method. From the Islamic perspective, it offers more on the holistic view. So, why? Here mental health is a balance of the heart, mind, and body that rooted in the imans and the trust in Allah. Remedies are often spiritual and representative, maybe doing some kind of act of ibadah like a prayer, zikir, or reading of Quran, or maybe some deep reflections of the Quran, which aim to build an inner peace and resilience. Islam also encourages seeking practical therapy, viewing it as a compatible with the iman. Last but not least, I'm going to talk about the mental health challenge and their remedies. So we can understand that materialistic value lead to a perpetual desire or strong desire for more, resulting in the ingratitude and issue like anxiety and depressions. And the different perspective of each remedy, the Western approach rely on clinical tools like a CBT and pharmacologists. Meanwhile, the Islamic approach prescribes act of ibadah, or we call it as a spiritual meditative practice, such as salah, zikir, and Quranic reflections to build an inner peace and resilience. Importantly, Islam encourages seeking therapy, viewing it as compatible with faith. That's how we can understand from this literature review. Now we move on to the finding part in here from our survey. So in finding part, we conducted a survey from the Google form with a 35 student respondents. I'm not going to make it more detailed as stated in the reports, but here I can identify, I can interpret from this survey. Okay, so I have identified on three parts in here. First, on perception on materialism and the modern society. So in here, a strong majority, over 85%, agree that modern society prioritizes money and material possessions. Furthermore, over 91% agree that social media makes people more materialistic, confirming it as a role of catalyst. So most of this also measure a success by money and status, and 88.6% believe that materialism is still increasing today. Okay, now the second, which is talk about the on mental health literacy and spiritual well-being. In here, most respondents show a good mental health literacy. Understanding it involve emotional and spiritual well-being. Crucially, 97.1% agree that faith or iman play a key role in the maintaining mental health. When we ask about a personal experience, nearly half are reported having a face mental health issue in their lives. So last but not least, we talk about the impact of social material pressures on the on emotional health. Okay, this data shows that a clear perceived link between materialism and also mental strength. Over 91% agree that materialistic pressure and financial stress can increase stress, depression, and also anxiety. Similarly, 85.8% believe that comparing oneself to others can hurt a mental health. Finally, all respondents agree that a balance between adunya wal akhirah is the key to reducing a materialistic influence. So this is how we got from our finding. Now we move on to the discussions and also to the conclusion parts in these presentations. Okay, so in here, the survey results strongly support the literature. Social media is confirmed as a major tool of a materialistic value, which is tend to create a pressure that harm mental well-being. The financial and social stress of keeping up lead to anxiety and dissatisfaction discussed in our sources. However, our finding also highlight a powerful solutions in both of the literature and the survey responses. Okay, this agreement or this overwhelming agreements on the importance of the imams and the need for the adunya akhirah balance directly align with the Islamic perspective holistic models of a well-being. The spiritual practice of Islam, like a prayer, zikir, and also deep reflection of the Quran, they actively reduce stress, anxiety, and reframes our life of the purpose. A powerful verse from the Quran guides us, which is from Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 153. We can translate it, which is, "Oh, you who have believed, seek help through the penance and prayer. Indeed, Allah is with the penitents." Okay, so this is also does not reject the Western clinical method like a CBT, but it is a complement with them, addressing the root cause of the emptiness that materialism cannot fill. So in conclusion, from these presentations, our study confirmed the strong negative relationship between materialistic values pulled by a digital media and also the mental health. The remedies lies not in rejecting of modernity, but in intentionally integrating spiritual, balance, and practical psychology to build a healthier and more resilient community. So that is for me. I end with the wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And thank you for watching. Bye.